Hey everybody, this is Mr. Beckstrom, and today I want to take a look at an example from section 10.3, and I designed this problem to help also with the project that we're doing at the same time. So if you're having trouble with the second question on that project, hopefully this should be able to help a little bit here. So it says find an equation of the ellipse with center at the origin and x-intercepts at -5, 0, and 5, 0, and containing the point -3, 1, and we're going to treat the x-axis as the major axis. So what does that mean? It means that if we have an ellipse, now the major axis is the x-axis, which means that this thing is being stretched horizontally along the x-axis. So here's the center. We have a point here at 5, 0, and go about the same distance in the other direction. We have a point over here at -5, 0. I probably shouldn't draw it right there. Let's try to do a little bit over here. -5, 0. We also have a point at -3. So 1, 2, 3, about -3, 1. So somewhere maybe about right here. So we have this point here. So what is this thing going to look like? It's going to kind of look like remember it's so something like this. Now that is not a really pretty ellipse, but we can see that this thing is stretched horizontally and center at the origin. These x-intercepts here and containing this point -3, 1. So how do we go about solving this thing? Well, the formula for the ellipse with the major axis being the x-axis looks like this. And this is on page 666. X squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared is equal to 1. And we also know that b squared is equal to a squared minus c squared. A squared minus c squared. And this will help us get the c if we know the a and b, or we can solve really for any of those. Now let's talk about what the a, b, and the c are. So the a is going to be the value, the distance that you go out in the major axis direction. So in this case, it's going to be 5. So a is equal to 5 because we went out 5 in the major axis direction here. B is going to be the intercepts or the values for the intercepts on the non-major axis, the minor axis. So we don't really know what these are yet, so B is kind of unknown. And C is the foci. And the foci are the points on the major axis that we actually define what a ellipse is. And the foci kind of give us the ability to draw it. If we take any point on the foci and we look at the distance from the foci to that point and then that point to the other foci, this total distance here is going to be the same no matter what point you pick on this ellipse. And that's kind of how we define an ellipse here. All right. So we don't know what B is and we don't know what C is. So this is kind of where we're at right now, but we do have a point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this point with the fact that I know what A is. And I am going to go ahead and see if I can solve for B here. I should be able to because I have a X value, I have a Y value, I know my A, and I just don't know the B. So that'll let me plug everything in except for the B and solve for B. Let's do that over here. So X squared, so that's going to be -3 squared over A squared. That's going to be 5 squared. Plus Y squared, that's going to be 1 squared, all over B squared is equal to 1. So I want to solve this for b. So let's go ahead and just start doing that. So 9 over 25 is equal to 1 over b squared, oh, excuse me, plus 1 over b squared is equal to 1. Subtract the 9 over 25 from both sides. I'm going to get 1 over b squared is equal to, 1 can be written as 25 over 25. So 25 over 25 minus 9 over 25 is 16 over 25. Now here's a little trick you may not have seen, but if you don't believe me, go ahead and cross multiply and divide and see if you can get this yourself. But whenever we have fractions like this and we want to solve for b squared, I can just invert both, or take the reciprocal of both sides. So in this case, b squared is equal to just the reciprocal of that. So that's 25 over 16. And this means that b, and we're just looking at the positive value for b right now, is going to be the square root of that. So that's going to be 5 over 4. So we have our b, we have our a. Now it's not asking us here for the foci, so I could solve that since I know both my a and b now and solve for c. But we don't really need to worry about that right now since it's not asking for it. We just need to find the equation. So the equation is going to end up looking like this. X squared over a squared, which is 25, plus y squared over b squared. We can write b squared as 25 over 16. So 25 over 16 is equal to 1. And that would be the equation there. All right. If y'all have any questions, please let me know. And I hope you all have a great rest of your week.